go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to...
You think there's any hope for this land, John?
I don't know what happened there. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone, and good morning to you. Let me taste my coffee here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What's back there? Okay, let me move this. There you go. This. There you go. What else do I need to move? I think that should be about it. Ooh, this needs to go. And this needs to be over here. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing today, everyone? Come on in. Come on in. How are you all doing today? Oh, no. Come on in. Come on in. Hold on a second. Let me clean my glasses. The worst thing I ever did was allow myself to lose my eyesight. Glasses are not my friend. I didn't have to start wearing them until I was close to 50. And then by the time I started wearing them, they were trifocals. Okay. Sarah B., good morning. What a pretty picture. Miss Shea, Florida, where have you been? What do you mean you're back and I'm better? What happened? I think I texted you. What happened to you? Hi, Nova. Hello, Nova. How are you? Hello, Nova. You know, one day my granddaughter's going to see this and she's going to be like, she's talking to me? She's talking to me? I only know 2 people in the world named Nova. In the whole world. And you are one of 2. Miss Shay, where have you been? Where's my phone? I text you. And I was like, oh my God, is she okay? And you know what I hate about what I do for a living, right? And attaching myself to others, right? Which is very easy in my world, right? It's just that if anything ever happens to you all, I'll never know. I'll never know. You messaged me last night? Oh my goodness, I must have missed it. Let me see. Hello, Miss Brown. Hello. Oh, I got 5 messages. I didn't look at it this morning. I got straight up and went to walking right away. Usually I get up. Happily married for 40. Usually I get up and happily married for 40. Oh, I might make a tuna melt today. I don't have cheese. Damn. All right. Oh, here you go. I wasn't feeling my best last week. Got some rest and some needed treatments, but I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, I had a funny feeling. I had a funny feeling. Wait. Oh well. Okay. Lisa D, good health to all. Mm. Nova. Oh, kisses back to you. I love that you love and care about us. Yeah, I mean, it kind of, yeah, yeah, I do. First of all, let's call it the Meghan Markle syndrome, right? Like, I'm not in this world to not care about you, right? Like, I can't imagine doing this job and not caring about the people that come to me for readings, that come to me, people text me all day long, all day. I always tell them if you ask a question, it's a reading, but you can text me to update me. And now with IG, it's a lot easier for people to text, to DM me. But I can't imagine not caring for you, Miss Shea, Florida. And I also know what you're going through. So I was a little concerned, like sometimes when something good really happens, things flare up, right? It's the opposite of, of the tower. It's like your cells are so excited, like I am so happy, and then your body goes and it crashes. So I was wondering if that was that it, maybe the adrenaline from the wedding, that when you finally got to a space of this is now normal day-to-day living, did your body crash? Tsunami 75, gracious rising, beautiful soul. Um, just came in to drop some love and likes. Will always take some love and like the video. You got it. So throughout the years, I have, I just know, like, my clients have been around me for years, for years. And so when they go quiet or dark, I'm like, what happened? And I've had a couple of clients, just two, that went so far dark that years had gone by. I mean, years. And one client showed up for a reading, and I was like, I mean, years. And the story was not a pretty story, right? Because I was helping her navigate, her situation. And then she just went dark. And I just thought maybe something really outrageous had happened. And one day she called me, and I was like, where have you been? And then I realized that everybody's in their own life, that they don't understand my role in their life. Like, I'm not just doing readings, I'm completely vested in your outcome. And so that was the one time that I realized that, like, even then, that's the one time I realized that people don't know the role that I have. So even that is a little lonely when you don't get that I care that much. But then I got over it. Then I had another client, Shay. Let me tell you, we were, she was a client first, and then we started hanging out, and then she had a boyfriend um, that injured himself, and he loved her so much that he took the insurance money and gave it to her to build her business. I was even there as she was building her business. I was there when they upgraded to a beautiful apartment in Los Feliz. Like, I mean, this is like watching over the years, at least a span of 5 years. And then I saw the demise of the relationship, and he was a gangster, right? But he didn't know I'm a gangster, right? He didn't know that. So he did know it. He knew I was a psychic, but he didn't know I was gangster. So she disappeared for a little bit. And so I called him and I said, "Where is she?" I said, she better call me. Where is she?" And he started laughing like, and I said, "If she is not alive, I will hunt you down." Right? She calls me right after that. But for some reason, my phone wouldn't accept the phone call. And so back in the day, we used to have phones that went straight to voicemail. Now, don't leave me a voicemail. I never pick it up. If you don't catch me, don't leave me a voicemail. Text me and DM me. That's it. Um, Hard to see as the Godfather. I am gangster. I am gangster. Trust and like you don't even get it. And don't let me get blind. If I get blinded, oh my God. Let me get my fan. If I get blinded, oh my God, it is not pretty. I've gotten blinded and it's been with cops. With cops. And I'm like, "You gonna do your job? You gonna arrest me? Because right now, you need to arrest me. Because this ain't gonna be pretty." Oh yeah, I get crazy. And so and he was gangster, right? And when I mean gangster, like gangster. Like he's got bodies, right? He already has bodies. And so when it went straight to voicemail, that I knew that was spirit telling me something like, "Get out, abort this," right? And so she disappeared for a couple of years. And then one of my other psychics at the Green Man store I worked at, he was like, "Do you know so and so?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "She's reaching out to you." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "She's going through this and that and the third." And I never reached out to her again. We never spoke again. We never, ever spoke again because she didn't know it. But I knew that I care too much. I care too hard. And whatever she was going through, it meant another 5 years of bringing her out of this. And she didn't know how much I cared. And I didn't need to explain that. And so I never reached out to her after that. Like there has to be boundaries. There has to be a time when you draw the line. So, but yeah, no one knows how much I care. I care so much. Like no one gets it. But it is what it is. Yeah, I'm a G. Yeah. I act all goofy. They're goofy. Talk to the birds. Don't let anger come in. The only one that knows my anger the best, or it's two people. It's my son, because I've used it on him as well as protected him when people came for him. especially teachers. Teachers love to attack black boys. Love to. I've had to fight them all my life. Teachers against my black child. Oh, and I fought them tooth and nail and loved it. hmm Principals, teachers, they love coming for a black boy. Um, and then, of course, my sister, she was terrible. She knew. And she'd be like, you wait till my sister gets here. You wait till she gets here. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I would come into the facility and everybody would be like, and they would start like scrambling like little rats. And I'm like, what's going on, Tony? I told them that they better not fuck with me. I'm like, stop cursing. I'm sorry, sis. I'm sorry. I'm not going to curse. But I told them they better not fuck with me. I'm like, oh my God, Tony. Now everybody's scared of me. But they had a right to be scared because not only do I use my words, I write letters. And if I write a letter, you're getting fired. I promise you. If I have to get to the letter, you're getting fired. And I would enjoy it. And I'd be like a mastermind in my computer. All right. All right. Let me see who else is on today. Hi, Margaret W. Soul Sister, caring to a fault. Caring to a fault. hmm hmm But I also can't stop it, right? It's a character of mine and not a character flaw. It's just a character. I care. Period. All right. I need to show you guys some things. Remember that plant that I had? I still need to repot it. I don't know what this man did, but he just put so much dirt, like jam packed it. I don't know how this man got these plants to grow the way that he just has a gifted hand. But I did break it up. And so, how pretty is this? I took the leaves that, remember, it was like a bridal veil. I took them all down and I created this. How pretty is this? You cannot get mad at this. And so I'm keeping it by my bedside. I just want to show you guys. I don't want to keep this much water here because I do my tarot and I don't want for my cars to get wet because there's a lot of water. But is this not pretty? It's beautiful, right? You can't, it's so green, right? Look at this. I'm in love. And I can't wait until it starts to grow and then I can repot it. And I really want it hanging on my window. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. The education field attacks toxic people. Unexpected, but true. No, it's not unexpected. It's to be expected because the education field has a hard time caring for Black people. Seriously. Whether you're in an all Black neighborhood, they don't direct funds to Black neighborhoods, or whether you're in a all white neighborhood and your son is like one or two or four or five Blacks in a whole damn school, right? Right? They don't care about that 1%, less than 1% of the Blacks. They don't care. That's going to be pretty. I know. I realize with me, because of my compassion toward others, my successful detachment comes from complete seclusion, like me, myself, I, solitude to regenerate. Yeah, I mean, it is really good to pull back your energy and recreate boundaries and figure out how, like, what went wrong. I do that. I create boundaries. The HBC are suffering. Are they? That was random, Aurelia. Are they suffering right now? Is everyone like having a problem at the HBC community? Is that what you mean? All right. Yes. But it was so random. Harvard and Yale. So random. Oh, giving all that money to Harvard and Yale. Oh, you're talking about on a college level. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. But, you know, remember the students need to always fight for that right? Remember that, right? Remember Felicia Rashad was there when, which was it, Howard? And the students were sleeping outside because of COVID, and turns out they were mole or rats or something like that, and the students were sleeping outside, and I didn't see on a media level what Felicia Rashad was doing for the kids. On a media level, I didn't see it. I suppose she was doing something. I just didn't see it in a global aspect. So they're, at least they're mature and they can figure out how to sustain themselves. But when you have a fifth grader that a teacher is subtly making disparaging remarks, right? And ignoring the child, like at Sesame Street, like that happens every day in the school system. And so those were the things that I would always go in fighting for, especially a disparaging remark, because most teachers don't realize that their language skills are, they were born in racism. I don't think they mean to be racist, but they are racist because they don't have enough sensitivity to Black care. And so I was never the type of person to tell my son, oh, don't worry about it. You know, white folks are racist. No, no, that means I leave him to handle his own battles. And I'm not showing him how to have a voice. But my son was going like, Ma, this thing happened today. And I was like, what you mean? What you mean this thing happened today? It came out just like that. I was like, oh, hell no. So we going to school tomorrow, right? We going to school. And I've had situations where they're like, Brian, you can go to school. And I'm like, Brian can stay right here. I tell him when he goes to class. And they go, Brian, you can go to class. And I was like, he stays right here. I tell him when he goes to class. But we're going to discuss this because it involved him. Oh, yes. You would want me as a parent. You would want me as a parent. I love to argue too. Like, what happened today, Brian? Nothing, Mom. You better tell me. Oh, we're going to school tomorrow. We're going to school tomorrow. I went through that with my son's teacher, called him lazy. Mm, mm. That, let me tell you Black folks something. Let me tell you something. I don't see it as much anymore, but we're going to go over this. Lesson 1. Never use the word lazy. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Lazy is a good thing. Lazy tells me that you care about yourself, that you care about luxuriating and relaxing. No, lazy is a slave term. So no, no more using the word lazy. Just take it out your vocabulary. What you doing? Relaxing? You're not working? You know, work takes so much energy. So I figured I'd relax 20 minutes before lunch. Do you remember when they used to give you an hour lunch? And then they reduced it to a half an hour. I was very resentful of that. I was like, who agreed that I shouldn't get an hour lunch? So you gotta relax 20 minutes before. If that's being lazy, so be it. But I have to relax. That is so true. They love to fill up the child's folder or cabinet with things. That's so true. That I never got access to my child's folder. I don't think it was ever allowed, but I'm pretty sure my name was up in there. I'm confident my name and Brian's mother is a problem. I remember one time I went to a parent teacher, and my son was put in a gifted and talented school. It was a beautiful school from K through 12, and he's always been a problem child though. Like he never really understood the privilege that was handed to him. He never understood that. He always was fighting a system, but he didn't need to fight, right? And so I get to parent teachers. But when he got home, he was always like this Pollyanna perfect kid. How's school, Brian? School was perfect, Mom, and we did this, and we, oh my goodness, you're having such a great time in this school. And then I get to parent teachers, and this is always how parent teachers always start out with me, always, right up until he was 17. They would always start out, we love your son. And my whole life, they would all say, we love your son. We love him. He's adorable. He's gracious. He's funny. And there's always a but with my son. But he might have been in the 5th grade. I think this was the 5th grade because he hadn't started his acting yet. And I did not get a good report. And this kid was tricking me every day he got home from school. He was tricking me. And I had to finally recognize that my, I don't, I had to finally recognize he was acting or practicing his acting with me. Like, how much can I get over on Mom if I show her these beautiful brown eyes and smile? Like, how much can I get over on her, right? In any case, I did not get a good report from this teacher, and I had gotten blind. And so I went down to the principal's office and I said, can I talk to Brian? And again, my reputation, they were like, Miss Brown? But I don't know my reputation. I don't know that they know that I don't know. Okay. Say, Miss Brown? And I'm like, mhm. And they're like, is there a problem, Miss Brown? No, of course not. Can I see Brian? Let me tell you something. The next thing I knew, it's security. Security was in the principal's office. I didn't even know the goddamn school had security. Security was in the principal's office. Then the vice principal comes to me and they go, Miss Brown, yes. Because once I'm blind, right, my voice is like robotic, right? I don't get black girl angry. I get robotic. Yes. And so they're like, Miss Brown, yes. Is there, do you want to talk separately? Oh, sure. They pull me in the office with security and they're like, is everything okay? I'm like, everything's fine. And the principal's like, we know you just came from talking to Brian's teacher. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. Can I see my son? Needless to say, they saved Brian's ass. He would have been on the floor. Or they saved my ass because I would have been in jail. I don't know which one. hmm I would have slaughtered this kid. Whatever the report. And the only reason why I was going to take him down is because I realized for the first time he was tricking me. He was showing me this Pollyanna, great kid. I got to get my battery. when he wasn't being, and the things that the teacher was saying, like, it was the first time I was like, she's not lying on him. She's not lying on him. All right. Parents have the right to review your child's school record. Oh, I didn't know that. I constantly request review. Really? I didn't know that. They play mind games and gaslight. They don't they don't keep a group of people enslaved for 200 plus years if they're lazy. Yeah, exactly. But you know where that's from, right? Once we started to rebel, then they're like, oh, they're lazy. Um, Only, not online. My mom was a mother like you. Teachers knew not to mess with it. My only regret is that I didn't have more kids. That was my only regret because I love me a good fight. Excuse me, Miss Johnson, can I talk to you? What did you say to my child yesterday? I worked at a job that online gave you it was online, two 15-minute breaks, for an 8-hour shift, and it was high stress. No, no, that's illegal. The two 15-minute breaks is mandated. Those are called bathroom breaks. But you're supposed to get, if you worked 8 hours, you should have at least got a half an hour for lunch. I don't know, child. And online, and you know they can track you online, right? School to prison pipeline theory is real. It is real, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. You have to fight your children, right? You have to fight your children to make sure that they understand that that system is real. And then you have to fight the system. That means if you have to volunteer to be at that school once a week, do anything, do paperwork, make sure the staff knows you. Volunteer at after school program, make sure the staff knows you. Because the more you befriend the staff and the teachers, the more they can say, do you want me to call your mother? And boom, we don't have a prison pipeline, right? But it is up to us to find a way to participate and all that good stuff. Oh my God, it's exhausting. You know what? Thank God I only had one child. I don't know if I can go through another school system again, especially being Black. It was terrible. All parents need to support children releasing their emotions, just positivity. Don't teach them suppression. It only invokes spirits of suppression and insecurity. Well, let's talk about that. I got two criers on my hand, two of them. My son's a crier and Ezra's a crier. To the point where you're like, why are you crying? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so crying's healthy, right? My son would watch a movie and just start crying. And I'd be like, are you okay? Mom, I can't. It's very sad. Just stuff that's happening right there. It's such a hard to go. Like those old African commercials, he cried every time. Turns out that shit wasn't real. We talk to Africans and they're like, that's not real. You know, they had to take those commercials off once we got an influx of Africans in. hmm hmm That Sally woman made so much money off of lying to us. True story. All right. By the way, my lazy son graduated from college last year. Thank you. And I hope he luxuriated by being lazy and taking a break before he started work. Mm, mm, mm. But you know what, guys? This is actually a great conversation for all of us to have, right? Because people don't know what we go through in the African American community, right? And white folks don't know what we go through in the African community. And so, this is a channel where we can kind of just listen to each other and kind of figure out, yeah, that was wrong, what you all did. Sally Struthers, yeah. Sally Struthers just lying about them poor kids in Africa. Making money on the backs of them poor little African kids. What did they do? Bring in more flies. Make sure you've got like sugar all over them. They do shit like that. Don't get me started. All right. Yes, Soul Sister. They replaced the African commercials with animal commercials. You know what they found? They found, especially like homeless dogs, and you want to um, find them a home, showing them as poor, decrepit, gook in their eyes dogs didn't work. Cleaning them up, putting outfits on them, and taking beautiful calendar pictures got all those dogs adopted. All right, I gotta get my charger. Let's take a break. Because we gotta talk about Miss Cleo. Okay, guys, gotta talk about Miss Cleo. Okay? What the fuck is happening here? Okay. What am I doing? Okay. Music. Cue the music. Cue the music. Oh, by the way, if you want a personal reading with me, no. There you go. And cue the music while I go get the charger. There you go. I gotta fix all this stuff. Wait, no, wait. Music. Oh, there you go. All right. Stay right there. Not come on today? All right. Are you there? Did the music come on? I try to be professional. What song? I watched the Miss Cleo documentary. Yes. Mm, the Eye of an Angel. Yes. Miss Tracy, all you say are facts. I made sure I was participating and knew my kids' teachers always. Or if I'm teaching anybody right now, get to know the goddamn teachers. It will save your life. it will save you, save your child's life. There's so many times where, like, even with me, because I instructed my son to do something with these bullies that were bothering him. Child, I'm not about to lose a child because of bullying. So I was like, babe, this is what you got to do. I was like, the next time a bully comes up in your face, right? I was like, you got two options. You take down only one of them. That could be the biggest one or the one with the biggest mouth. You have one option. Do not try to fight the game. I said, however, you got to sucker punch them. So that means you pick up something and you slam the fuck out of them. That's all right. I said that. Okay, so then, this was before they would arrest kids in school, right? So then, my son, little psycho kid that he was, but I didn't know how psycho he was. He must have been thinking about it all night. He must have been prepared to slam the fuck out of a kid. So they did their normal routine of, bothering him, and he assessed it and picked up a pencil and jammed it in somebody's side. I get the phone call. We have a situation. Damn. So I get in. Once again, I get pulled into a separate office, like the interrogation school office. This happens a lot to me. And they had me waiting, which I didn't like. And the principal comes in and she goes, we had a situation. Black woman. She goes, we had a situation. And I was like, what happened? And she goes, Brian is being bullied. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, so right? And I was like, oh. And she goes, and I guess in his defense, they went to attack him. And in his defense, he picked up a pencil and jammed it into a kid's thigh. And I said, oh. And she goes, but we're okay. Because he didn't break the skin. He broke the pants, but he didn't break the skin. He only had a little pencil mark on the skin. And in my mind, I'm going, well, there goes Jesus. There goes God, right? Not for the kid, because trust and believe, I don't give a fuck about the kid. That means they couldn't arrest my son, right? There was no such thing as arrest back in the day, but this might have been their first arrest in Montclair, New Jersey, right? And I would have been like, oh. And in my mind, I'm thinking, there's God. Wow. To myself, right? And then I followed it up with, because by this time I was separated, not divorced, I was separated. And I followed it up with, ma'am, his father is very violent, which wasn't true, but I wasn't about to tell her that I told him to pick up the first thing. I put it on his father's very violent, and that's why I left, because his father's very violent, but we will have some conversations about violence. Meanwhile, my son comes out and we're walking home, and I look at him and I hugged him and I said, good job. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he was never violent again. Never. That's the other thing about him. Like, he has my heart. So when he realized the extremity of what all of that meant coming out of him, he never wanted to be violent again. So he was never, once he got older, then he got into man fights. Like, they go to Vegas and two groups of boys and everybody's fighting. Two different things. The man fights you can't stop once they become man. Boys just become idiots, and it's testosterone. And then, thank God, he comes back, like, able to tell the story. He's like, Ma, it was really funny. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. Yeah, I'm back. I'm alive. Like, don't worry about it. It was funny. All right. I told my son a person's aggressive walk towards you, consider it the first lick. Proceed. Really? You're saying the walk is the first lick, but after that, you break the bank. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Everybody likes the music? All right. Let me tell you guys about Miss Cleo. So, I didn't mention it on yesterday's feed, which I regretted, on the bodyguard. Does anybody believe that bodyguard's ever going to show up again? I mean, don't listen to me, but does it look like he's ever going to show up again? Never mind. I forgot to mention it, right? And so I was going to come back on and do Meghan Markle, but it's okay. I've got this whole thing on Meghan Markle, right? I've got this whole thing on this woman that has a heart of gold. This woman that has a heart of gold for the world, for women, for women's rights. Like, I can't wait to see what all that she does in this world, right? So I would encourage everyone to be a Meghan Markle. So for right now, just follow her. And if you can't react in your own world like Meghan, follow her. So that if she calls for help, you're there helping and participating, right? According to the judge in court, the one that hits first is the one to be prosecuted. Oh. Yeah, but I get that. And you're right. And I guess they're right too, but aggression's aggression. Like, that doesn't count in domestic violence. Do you know that in domestic violence, if you do like this to someone or do like this to someone, that's a threat. So I don't know if that's always true, right? Because you can't constantly be bullied and constantly under threat, and to not think that the person that's constantly being threatened may not would most likely come back at you with physical violence. So I don't know, the court system's a little boom, 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 boom. Okay, don't worry. I guess it's on an individual basis, and so it is what it is. But this was back in the day before they arrested little 7-year-olds. All right, now they'll arrest you. In any case, so I wouldn't advise you to tell your kids to do anything like I told my kid. There was no such thing as arrest, but nowadays there would be. But sometimes it's worth going to court. It's absolutely worth going to court, because you should not take this from a whole community of people, and that's what it was coming down to. It was coming down to one little black boy in a class, and all the other kids were Caucasian. And I'm not sure what their problem was. Was their problem their parents, speaking out, and then they carried it to school? Because that's what I think was really happening. And so sometimes something has to get aggressive to let the parents know, maybe you all should stop speaking poorly at home. I don't know. I'm just saying. But a lot of things have changed over the years. But now we're going backwards, because now, this whole KKK movement since Trump. But Trump is getting arrested soon or indicted soon. As we see, racism doesn't really pay in the long haul. A lot of cops are going to jail now. This network of, not caring about blacks. But to be honest with you, not caring about women too. It's not just blacks, it's women too, right? Women of all color. White women suffer a lot. I mean, a lot, especially young white girls. So, whatever. All right. Oh, that's what they told my nephew when he hit first. Screw them. That's just to stop your nephew. I don't believe it. I don't believe it 100%. I believe it yes, I do believe it, but I think there are extenuating circumstances that could lead to someone hitting first, and they have got to look at those circumstances, which means you would need a good lawyer or a mom like me. All right. It never made it to court. Bullying is real. Yes. And so bullying is real. And, and so jumping children, I raised them to defend themselves, period. Let me tell you something. These girls, they were black girls, tried to jump me in junior high school. Now, let me tell you something. I hit out, at least back in the day, we used to make appointments, right? Like you be there at 3:00, right? You be there at 3:00. I'm gonna kick your ass. Or at least back then, you had to make an appointment to get your ass kicked, right? I hid out in the bathroom for 3 hours because there was always something athletic going on in the school. I hid out in the bathroom for 3 hours. And by the time I got out, it was still light. So it must have been like after daylight saving time. It was still light and there was like no one to be found. It was still light and it was still hot. And black folks, we don't sit in the sun. And then after that, they never bothered me. Same girls. They never bothered me. Maybe spirit choked them on the way to, in their sleep at night. I don't know, but I never got bullied after that. Yeah. All right. Miss Cleo. I didn't make the announcement, which I regret, but I really did hope that everyone remembered that I said 6:00 Eastern, we're going to watch on TikTok. But if you didn't watch it, that's fine. But did any of you see it? No, you just got a racist judge. I promise you. And maybe not a good lawyer. You must have got your sister or whatever, must have had one of those court lawyers. That was prison to jail system. You fight that shit to the end. Every dollar goes on fighting your child, but it's all right. A year in jail for a kid. They had a school fight and nobody died. Get out of here. Okay, let's get off of that. Sorry that your nephew went through that. How old was he, by the way? How old was he? Was he in his 20s already? Because that's even more appalling because boys fight in their 20s. All right. Miss Cleo. Did anybody see the documentary on Miss Cleo? Did anybody see the documentary? I loved it. At first, I was hurt, right? At first, I was like, oh, Miss Cleo, please don't tell me you scammed the acting people. I was like, please don't tell me you did that. Please tell me you paid people for the work that they did, right? So let me tell you something. This might be a good example of karma, right? So I was looking at because I don't watch things to watch things. I watch things to study it, and I watch things to bring it back into spirituality, right? And one of the first things that they mentioned was this theater in Seattle and how she convinced these people to pay her to put on this performance, and then she was supposed to pay the dancers and the singers, and she never did. And notice when the people told the story, it stuck with them. You never forget when someone has wronged you. I promise you. It stays with you. And so, and this was a wrong that never got corrected. And that's why it stayed with them, right? And so, cut to, she disappears and they start to bring out the history of how the psychic something network was formed, how they were looking for a spokesperson anyway, and most of the spokespeople sounded like trash, right? Which I get that. I get that. Like, I cannot stand, hi, I'm your psychic. And I could tell you anything that you want, which means you're going to get a bitch that lies to you. You want to be lied to? Go to that bitch. Hi, he's your soulmate. Absolutely. Well, the thing about soulmates is that they do just keep coming in and out there. That's not me. Okay? I do not want to be attached to my soulmate. I do not want you to be attached to a dick and then call it a soulmate, or to a crazy bitch. Oh, no, the bitches out there that really hurt the good guys. No, we're not doing that, right? I believe that someone can be a soulmate here on earth. I tell my people, one person reads the contract and you're the one that's reading the contract. He's not reading the contract. So you know you have a soulmate. He doesn't. And you can't tell him that you and he are soulmates because he thinks you're scamming him. So now he's really going to make sure that you're not a soulmate. Most people come together because one person needs something from the other, and one person falls in love. When that person gets what they need from you, that's when the arguing starts. That's when this and that and the third start. That's when they stop coming home. That's when this, that, and the third, you break up. He goes on his separate way, and you know, like, and then he started dating this bitch, and I can't stand her, da-da-da, like all this shit is still continuing, right? And then when he realized that there are women out there that won't put up with his shit, he remembers you, and then he comes back for you to fix him again. No, no, that is not soulmate energy. And no psychic spiritualist should be telling you or explaining to you how to stay with the pathetic person. If anything, they should be explaining to you how to run and how to look for a really good man, right? Side note, that's just a side note. In any case, they go to figure out how they can get this spokesperson, but even they saw that the spokesperson that they hired wasn't, producing the right look. And what does she do? She tells people the truth. She tells people the truth. She's like, you know he's cheating. What are you doing with him? You know this is gonna happen. This is what I see. And then, because you know what people need in their lives? They need the truth. You can always, what do I tell my people in my group? Where's my group people? Do not be afraid to tell the truth. They're always going to come back later and say, thank you for being honest. This is exactly what happened, and thank you. And they appreciate honesty, not the bullshit. Because then when they give you the bullshit and the okey doke about psychics, you keep calling them. Well, then he did this to me. And then the psychic, oh, sweetie, but he loves you. No, that motherfucker don't love you. If a motherfucker's treating you bad, he don't love you. Trust me on this. He treats you bad, he don't love you. Period, point blank. And you can't convince me otherwise. The other thing I tell some of my clients is, there's not a love card to be found here. No love. Oh, by the way, I did the year in review for the horoscopes. I got all the way up to Gemini. I should be finishing today the rest of them. But Aquarius is, y'all gonna find some kind of love. Like love, love, love. So if y'all are single and you're looking, this is your year. Go for love. Because this is, I don't know what the planets are doing with you guys, but the planets like you. Mm-hmm. All right. But that's the year in review for 2023. Check it out. Um, um, so moving forward, juvenile. That's the school to prison system. That's what he got caught up in. Um, like Lisa D said. So then it turns out with Miss Cleo, then it turns out that I think it was like the FCC or some commission of the United States. People were complaining, but the complaints came through not from people who were calling the hotline. The complaints came through from people who had collection bills who didn't call the hotline. And the two people that owned the company, I forget their names. Let me see. Who owned PRN, Psychic something network? Who? They said it last night. How Miss Cleo got caught up in it is that when the collection wrote letters, when the collection people wrote letters, they forged Miss Cleo's signature. So 2 or 3 cases had already gone against these two men, but each time it settled. Stephen Fetter and Peter Stoltz are the people that created the psychic something network. It's called PRN. So when they got the collection letters, at the bottom of the letter, it said Cleo. And that's how she got brought into a lawsuit. What we didn't hear was how she was victimized by these two men that were making millions. What we didn't hear is that she wasn't making more than $10 an hour to create these videos. What we didn't hear is that they dropped the lawsuit against her. Also, there was something about her taxes, and that never came up. The one thing she kept saying in her videos is that I pay my taxes. It's so weird because these are recorded well beyond the scandal. And she goes, I pay my taxes like everybody else. And yet the media pushed that she didn't pay her taxes, and that's why she's going against this, that, and the third. She didn't make enough money to pay her taxes. If you ask me, you don't get to make $10 an hour and tell me I got to pay my taxes. No. And I mean that. All right. They owned her image. They owned her name. Much like, that's why y'all got to make sure history does not repeat itself. Much like Wendy Williams. That's why Wendy, who's a smart ass, this is something they should have researched. Because you never give away your government name. You own that by birth, by your birthright. You want to make up another name and claim that? Do it. They own Wendy's YouTube. Who's getting that money from YouTube? They owned her IG. No, all that has to be negotiated in the contract. It's fine and dandy to have had created a system that many people have mimicked, Wendy, including myself, right? You were the first. You were the first. You also was the first dummy. Because you can't care about making money that badly that you can't see the future, and that somebody taking your name is a bad fucking deal. All right. What I noticed, and one of my peeps in my spiritual club, pointed this out on TikTok. She had the best of friends. that loved her to the core, that would not let her be a hermit, that pulled her out the house and partied with her every Sunday and loved on her and cared about her because they understood that she was a caring person. And you can ask for nothing more, which is why I'm always asking you guys to pick your romantic people better. Because the objective of having anybody in your life is to make sure you're getting back love. You're a nurturer, got it. You're a giver, got it. Sometimes people like that will never stop giving. But you have to understand, you have to have people that give back to you and give back to you unselfishly. And her friends gave back to her unselfishly. They were amazing. Simply amazing. And in the end, she wound up gay and happy. And then one woman that she wound up like loving, looks like she said, you know, she almost cried. She's like, I just loved her. And you could tell it was like from deep within. She's like, I just loved her. And she said, you know, we started falling apart. She wasn't coming home. And she goes, one day she just woke up and she says, I'm leaving. And you could tell the woman was still hurt. She's like, I'm leaving. I don't know if that woman ever got closure, but even in telling the story, there was still love there for Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo was a good-hearted person that got caught out there. Oh, you know, this is good talk, right? Watch the show. It was so good. Oh, and it was it was also presented or directed or produced by Raven Simone. So Raven Simone had some intimacy in telling this story. She had a whole show that was based around the Miss Cleo theme. And then, you know, the whole lesbian angle too. And let me tell you something. When I was at the Green Man store, now I regret not doing it. When I was at the Green Man store, I said to the owners, I was like, you know, I really want to be a Miss Cleo type, right? And then they said, oh, that was the other thing. Then they said that they hired more Jamaican, or I'm claiming Jamaican because that's what Miss Cleo claimed that she was. She could have a heritage in Jamaica, but turns out she little lies that she told that she was born here. And so the PRN network liked to hire more Jamaicans, and now they like to hire people with accents. Mm-hmm. Call me now. See, I can't even do it like her. Call me now. Oh man, it's the call. It's like it. When I say it scratches, like it hurts your ear. I'm gonna try. Call me now. I always liked Miss Cleo, never knowing her story. I always liked her. And I really appreciate Raven getting her story out and telling us what a victim she was. All right. Do we have a job to do that I never do? I never do the job that nobody asked me to do, but it's got to be done. She was a victim. I didn't expect that. Her soul seemed like she was always searching. Yeah. Miss Cleo would have been better in 2022, but she didn't live that long. Cancer took her out, right? By the way, she was a Leo, and she would have been the same age as me. So she could have reinvented herself on IG, child. She could have reinvented everything that is Miss Cleo, but I think she died just before this part of the internet, because IG has made the metaphysical world a whole thing. COVID has made the metaphysical world a whole thing, which is why I like IG and stuff. I don't think all those people out there are authentic, but there's plenty out there that are really good. All right. Can I do my job now, guys? I am your YouTube correspondent for CNN. I am the only one that does this job. By the way, I do expect people to follow me, because everything I do on YouTube, people follow. So, first, like the video, subscribe, follow on IG with me. If you want your own personal reading, I do have openings today, so text me at 213-458-7408. Also, check out the love horoscopes for December. Check out the year in review 2023, year in review in your sign, sun, moon, and rising. And I'm giving this report on behalf of CNN. It's officially unofficial. They never asked me to do this job, ever. But they need me. Okay. January 6th. This is going to be exciting. The January 6th committee investigating the 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol is set to make announcements today about criminal referrals to the Justice Department. The panel has weighed criminal referrals for former Donald Trump and several members of his inner circle. Does that mean his children? Didn't I always see all those concubines were going to get caught up if they kept following their father's lead? Didn't I see that? Donald Trump Jr., you're at the top. Ivana already vomited on her father. Okay? Like I said she would. So she's truly trying not to go to jail. But remember, what have I always said? They will take everybody else down around him. So children, get ready. You're gonna get indicted. A referral is a recommendation that the Justice Department investigate whether to charge the people in question. But the move is largely symbolic because it doesn't obligate federal prosecutors to bring such a case. I just want the indictment. Give me the indictment. Let's start there. Give me something to start with, please, Justice Department. Will depend on, charges will depend on whether the facts and the evidence support a prosecution. Garland will make the ultimate call on any charging decisions. This is so exciting. And remember, everybody around Trump is going to go down. And maybe that's strategic. Elon Musk, Twitter, says he will step down as Twitter CEO. He's lying. If he's voted out by a poll, he tweeted Sunday. According to the poll, the option yes won by a margin, a huge margin of 57% over 43%. And Musk has said he would abide by the results. In several follow-up tweets, Musk suggested he was serious about leaving and made a vague threat about Twitter's future if he is voted out. As the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. as you might get it, Musk. Since buying Twitter for $44 billion and taking over as CEO in late October, Musk has been embroiled in numerous controversies for causing abrupt changes to the platform and its workforce. The most recent change came over the weekend when Twitter banned links to certain other social media platforms, journalists, I think, including Facebook and Instagram. I didn't know this. The controversial policy was removed less than 24 hours after its initial introduction. What? I don't get it. Listen to me. He also hasn't paid rent. What if he came along to destroy Twitter? What if he's being paid to destroy Twitter? What if he came along to destroy Twitter before the 2024 election? What if he is that a spy? Is that what a spy would do? Huh? Espionage. Is that espionage? What if he's working for our government and has come along to destroy Twitter? That's very interesting. Very interesting concept. Is Musk destroying Twitter on purpose? Huh. What do you guys think? Doesn't it feel that way? All right. World Cup. Argentina. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, that's Wendy. I like it though. Wendy, sorry. Won the 2022 World Cup on Sunday, beating France. I'm so proud of you, Argentinas. And I like the guy. I don't know which one it was, but he had the cup. And he was like, hold on, I got to make a commercial. All right, I have to make a commercial. Immigration. This is going to be exciting. As border authorities tried to prepare for the scheduled lifting of Title 42 on Wednesday, that was put into mandate by, the former guy, officials, it's on Wednesday? This Wednesday? It's going to be so exciting. Officials in the Gran Rio Valley say they have encountered between 900 and 1,200 migrants daily during the past 2 weeks. These numbers are reminiscent to 2019 surge when agents at the border encountered at least 1,000 a day. The termination of Title 42 policy is expected to lead to an increase in border crossings, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, 2 buses carrying migrants arrived in New York City. And Sunday, and up to 15 more expected in the next few days. The city shelter system is already at capacity and should expect more than 1,000 additional asylum seekers to arrive every week. Mayor Eric Adams said Denver, Colorado is also struggling to provide shelter for the growing number of migrants. I don't care. We got the whole Midwest that is full of land. Full of land. We've got Midwest towns that are dead. Bring the migrants into those towns. Reinvest in those towns. There is a way to make this work.
I promise you. You all did it before and moved to the Midwest and created farmland. It can be done again. There is enough money to figure out. There's Utah, there's Wyoming. There's a way to take care of the migrants that want to come here. I challenge American people and politicians to figure it out. Sending them all to urban cities is dumb. Is dumb. There is a way. There is a way to build housing, and it doesn't have to be elaborate, just warm. There is a way to build temporary communities. There is a way to, create, a school system. There is a way. You left the Indians by themselves to figure it out, right? Get the American Indians involved because they understand the weather and stuff like that. Like, there's a way, people. Enough already. Enough, Texas. All right. Are we good? You guys got so quiet. Turbulence. At least 36 people on Hawaii Airlines flight were injured after their plane encountered severe turbulence on a flight from Phoenix to Honolulu on Sunday. The turbulence occurred 15 to 30 minutes before the plane landed in Honolulu, carrying 278 passengers and 10 crew. 20 passengers were taken to emergency rooms. 11 patients were in serious condition. That is so scary. Honolulu Emergency Medical Services said in a statement Sunday, among those transported to the hospital was a 14-month-old child. Now, am I mistaken? At 14 months, isn't he supposed to be in a child seat? I mean, maybe the mom was breastfeeding him or something. I don't know. But it's certainly something to recognize, right? Let me tell you something. We can all learn from this. If you have to feed your baby and you got to do the breast thing, or you just want to hold your baby, right? Because babies can't stand that seat anyway, and they're flying for 10 hours, right? Then you strap down, but there has to be another thing, right? I'll use this because this is nice and long. And you don't have to buy it, but maybe this is a market now for airplanes. You take another thing, hold your baby. This is your baby, right? Hold your baby. I teach you all these things. And tie your baby to you. That way, if that turbulence comes, that baby doesn't fly up out your hands. And you're safely tucked into the seat anyway. So there's a market out there now to create something like this for flying. Or it could be one of those things that click, right? You're welcome. Whoever makes this, you're welcome. All right. I'm so good at ideas. Stop going to Hawaii. Is that really the answer? Is that what Pele was trying to tell people? I thought about that too. I'm like, Pele's mad. Like, I don't know if I would go to Hawaii right now. She is pissed. Oh, I did everything. Oh, I did everything. All right, guys. All right. I have to stop here because I have a reading to do in a minute. I love you all and I thank you all. And like, subscribe, follow me on IG. If you're looking at this right now, thumbs up. If you haven't watched the Miss Cleo documentary, please watch it. If somebody doesn't have HBO, let me know. I can repeat it again next Sunday. All right? But let me know because her story is really important to me. I feel like I give my readings very much the way she gives them, right? She does not lie to people. She's straightforward. She's caring. She's loving. And in the end was victimized by a system. I will not get victimized by a system. I promise you. I will learn from her. However, it's really important that you know her story. She actually had an amazing soul. Hi, Kiana. Hi, sweet Carmel. Okay, I love you all, and I will see you later because I got to do a reading on something. Maybe Meghan Markle. I love Meghan Markle, by the way. When all is said, be a Meghan Markle. Bye, guys.
Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown